After a portal opened to another world, the government sent supervillains to explore. The story begins with Harley Quinn taking hostages during a robbery with the Joker. As police arrived, the place exploded. On the other hand, Agent Amanda Waller started a portal experiment, ignoring warnings about its instability and using a girl as an energy source. Harley and the Joker escaped, but the police blocked them. Harley used a bazooka while the Joker handed out money, dreaming of a new world. As the police closed in, Harley threw bombs to stop them. She entered a bar for a drink but realized it was a trap, fighting off armed men and warning the Joker not to enter. Meanwhile, Amanda pushed for more energy, causing the girl to writhe in pain. Harley escaped the bar as the Joker crashed his car into a wall, distracting their attackers. A sword flew at her as she climbed a building to contact him. She encountered a samurai girl named Katana and prepared to fight. After a brief struggle, Katana disarmed Harley, who refused to give up. Ultimately, Katana knocked her out, and soldiers informed her that the Joker had escaped. Harley felt relieved and vowed to find him as the portal's energy surged and exploded. 6 months later, Amanda visited a base to recruit superhuman candidates. The director Wade warned her about the supervillains, but she threatened his career by revealing his plan to divert prison resources. She turned off the TV in Harley's cell when a job was offered. Handcuffed, Harley kicked Wade, insisting only the Joker had that privilege. Amanda ordered Wade to take her to the prisoners, believing a little craziness was needed for change. Harley dreamed of crossing a portal, but woke up handcuffed beside a man. Disappointed he was not the Joker, he complained about being on the worst team, upsetting another companion when he wished they would recognize him as a movie star. They spotted a prisoner with a sack over his head, and Harley asked if he was ugly. He explained he wouldn't reveal his face to protect his mission. The commander briefed the team with a video from Amanda, instructing them to protect bridgeheads for research and promising reduced sentences for success. She revealed bombs in their necks that would explode if they disobeyed or strayed from the signal for 72 hours. Deadshot challenged her, but she threatened his daughter and instructed them to follow their leader Adam, who released them. As alarms blared, Adam discovered the pilots were dead, leading to a helicopter crash during a battle. A knight named Cecil witnessed the crash. In the chopper, Harley woke up, realizing Adam was dead, but the others survived. She freed herself with a sword, and after almost falling, Deadshot saved her. The actor transformed his hand to break open the door, and they exited into a fantasy world filled with magic and mythical creatures. They asked Mr. Sackhead, who claimed to be on a peace mission, but he knew nothing. Surrounded by orcs, the actor joked about being on a movie set, provoking an attack. Harley realized it was real. While Deadshot worried, she was eager to fight. King Shark emerged from the chopper, rampaging and killing orcs. Harley joined him while Mr. Sackhead revealed himself as the Peacemaker. The actor transformed into Clayface. Deadshot retrieved his gear and targeted the orc leader. Climbing the chopper for a clear shot, he killed the leader, causing the orcs to retreat. Cecil tried to attack but was disarmed by Deadshot, who marveled at Cecil's ability to call his sword back. Clayface realized they had been transported to another world and asked Cecil if they were summoned as heroes, but they were taken to the dungeon instead. A royal carriage passed through a starving village, but the queen ignored the begging villagers as soldiers pushed them back. Nobles watched the battle with the orcs and praised the queen's victory. Cecil argued that thousands starved every day, but they dismissed him. The queen silenced them, saying victory wasn't assured until the orcs were gone. Cecil suggested calling Harley's squad, but she also dismissed that, ordering him to focus on the next battle. Fiona agreed with him, but the queen insisted her decision was final. Later, Fiona watched children fighting over bread but refused to eat. Cecil reminded her that starving wouldn't help, and she asked him for a favor. Harley mocked the police during interrogation, which led to torture. An explosion signaled the Joker's rescue, but she woke up, realizing it had been a dream. Deadshot asked what was happening, and Clayface believed they were heroes who deserved better after helping win the battle, criticizing the god who sent them. Deadshot thought Peacemaker was crazy, but Peacemaker pointed out their biggest problem: time. If Amanda were right, the bombs in their necks would explode in 72 hours. With 12 hours gone, they had 60 left to return to their world. Clayface, unhappy with the situation, decided to leave the prison. They doubted he could break the bars, but he slid through, stating that brute force wasn't his style. He planned to abandon the group for his development, shocking Harley and Deadshot, who called for the guards. Peacemaker grabbed him, but a guard restrained him with magical handcuffs, blocking his powers. The guard announced it was time for lunch. Deadshot asked Clayface if he would help them escape as they sat, but Clayface said he couldn't because of the handcuffs. Suddenly, ogres demanded they leave the table. Deadshot sensed a fight brewing, but Clayface urged him to stay calm, insisting they couldn't afford more enemies. He wished King Shark were with them, but he was still sleeping off a feast of orcs. Clayface tried to talk their way out, but the ogres punched him. Deadshot flipped the table, and a fight broke out. Harley took down the leader while Peacemaker handled the others. The guards arrived, pinned the squad with magic, and sent them to the disciplinary cell where they met Rick Flag, an Argus agent, wondering if Amanda had sent reinforcements. Rick revealed they weren't the first team sent there. He had led another squad for first contact. Deadshot questioned this, and Rick explained they were sent to explore an unknown world for its resources. Deadshot realized Rick's team had failed, meaning Amanda had sent criminals on a suicide mission. Peacemaker asked about the bomb transmitter, insisting they needed to reset the timer. Rick believed the transmitter was near the portal and offered to lead them back if they helped him escape. They hesitated, but King Shark woke up, hungry, scaring everyone. Rick told him there was food outside, prompting King Shark to try breaking down the door, attracting the guard's attention. He broke the door, but when the guard used magic, Deadshot stopped him, while Harley grabbed the wand and sent him flying. Clayface freed himself from the magical handcuffs and regained his powers. He decided to release the other monsters to create chaos. Noticing that his powers were stronger in that environment, they seized the opportunity to defeat the guards, and the monsters helped them control the prison. Meanwhile, Cecil headed to the prison, recalling Fiona's belief that Harley's squad could help end the war. Shocked by the takeover, he saw prisoners celebrating on the roof as the squad got along with the monsters. He arrived at the gate and was confronted by the squad. He asked what they were doing, but they couldn't understand him. They remembered him as the man who sent them to prison, thinking he looked like a stressed-out salesman. He couldn't understand them without his helmet, but he knew they were mocking his hair. He threw his sword at Harley, but King Shark ate it. Cecil used his bracelet, and the sword flew out of King Shark's stomach, but his wounds healed. Everyone prepared to fight, but Rick tried to calm them. Deadshot refused to back down, but Rick warned about the Imperial Knights while they reached the portal. He revealed that he had learned the local language in prison and decided to handle the situation, stating that he didn't want to fight. Cecil understood him, but the orc phrases he learned were insulting, upsetting Cecil and preparing him to attack. At the castle, the Queen casts a spell for communication. Rick thanked her and explained his urgent request, but she reminded him he was a prisoner. He offered valuable war information in exchange for freedom, noting that new commanders led stronger beasts from another world. Harley realized that the first team must have betrayed Rick. The Queen was angry that Rick couldn't control his team and saw the kingdom losing. Peacemakers claimed they would make amends and guarantee success. She took Rick hostage, threatening his life if they failed. Cecil disliked fighting with them, but the Queen reminded him he had brought them. Before Rick was taken, he warned the squad that he knew where the portal was and urged them not to abandon him. They gathered their gear and prepared for battle. The kingdom's forces clashed with the Empire as the squad watched. Cecil told them not to participate, believing the kingdom would win. Deadshot, reluctant to fight, wondered about the beast's training while Harley suspected brainwashing. Deadshot thought the commander was his old friend from prison and suggested talking to him. They approached the fortress, and Clayface created a hole in the walls. Deadshot doubted Clayface could bring down the fortress due to a lack of moisture, but sensed magic flowing through him, which Harley also felt. They navigated the corridors, taking down guards until they reached the roof where the commander led the beasts. Deadshot called out to Ratcatcher, who was shocked to see him. In a flashback, Ratcatcher was bullied in prison, and Deadshot tried to help but only made things worse, traumatizing him. In the present, Ratcatcher commanded his beasts to attack Deadshot. His power now extended to all beasts. The group fought the wolves, and Peacemaker realized they were outnumbered and needed to take down Ratcatcher. He shot at Ratcatcher, but a wolf protected him. Deadshot tried to remind Ratcatcher of the past as the squad continued fighting, only to anger him further and boost the wolves' power. Clayface pointed to the giant water tanks, and Deadshot shot them, flooding the roof. With the moisture, Clayface controlled the fortress walls, causing the wolves to fall. Peacemaker shot Ratcatcher, but Katana saved him, upsetting Harley, who recalled Katana separating her from the Joker. The fortress collapsed, and Cecil scolded the squad for ruining the plan. Deadshot insisted they had saved the army and told Cecil to rebuild. Meanwhile, the Queen and her officials praised her for the outcome, while Fiona realized she had been right. Katana reminded Ratcatcher that the Emperor despised incompetence and vowed not to fail again. Gang members entered a building while the Joker watched. He turned to Harley and asked how to hunt them down, comparing them to troublesome rats. Suddenly, Harley woke from a dream, frustrated to find herself in a cell. Deadshot reassured her that they hadn't done anything wrong, but admitted they might have gone too far by destroying the fortress. Fiona approached, and Deadshot asked when they would be released, but she didn't know. Harley noticed Fiona and grew irritated. She explained that Fiona reminded her of her old self, which confused the others. Cecil arrived with the cell keys, saying the Queen wanted to see them. In a flashback, young Fiona climbed a rooftop with friends. A friend mentioned his family's struggles due to rising bread prices and asked when the war would end, but Fiona didn't know. Back at the palace, Fiona was scolded for playing with commoners. The queen reminded her that she had a duty to end the war, recalling the loss of her friends. Returning to the present, Cecil warned Fiona that the war council meeting was starting. The council panicked as the enemy army approached, with Cecil explaining that the Imperial army could reach the kingdom in 2 days. Harley wondered why she was still handcuffed after the squad had retaken the fortress. The queen explained that they hadn't fulfilled their deal by destroying it. Rick learned that the kingdom had been at war with the Imperial army for decades, worsened by the betrayal of the elves and beastmen. Deadshot was shocked to find that the beastmen were once subjects of the kingdom and suspected Ratcatcher was behind their betrayal. He questioned why Amanda hadn't detonated their bombs earlier, realizing they were deactivated. The queen considered sending them back to prison, but Harley suggested luring Ratcatcher to the front line. Peacemaker doubted their numbers, prompting Rick to ask the queen for soldiers. Fiona supported the plan despite objections from the council. They set up camp near the fortress where the ogres arrived. Harley motivated them with promises of freedom if they fought hard. Rick assigned tasks, scolding King Shark for eating all the rations. Clayface finished the barriers that evening, and the squad discussed their battle plan. Cecil noticed Deadshot was missing, and found him on the roof as a sniper, which he deemed the best position. Clayface asked Cecil about Fiona, who he said cared for the people. Harley called her a coward, angering Cecil. As King Shark sensed the enemy, Cecil instructed the squad to command the ogres, but they refused. Ratcatcher's army arrived, mocking the kingdom's apparent disadvantage. Despite the soldiers' fears, Cecil reminded them of their duty. Ratcatcher strengthened his army, seeking revenge on Deadshot. When a bullet flew past him, he assumed Deadshot had missed and ordered his beasts to attack, but they froze. Deadshot revealed his plan to destroy Ratcatcher's staff, which controlled the beastmen. The barriers had lured Ratcatcher into the open, causing his beast to turn on him. Harley recalled the Joker's advice about making rivals fight. A messenger reported that the beasts no longer wanted to fight, ensuring the kingdom's victory. The squad claimed they had fulfilled their deal and could now leave. They reset their bomb timers while the council celebrated, though the queen looked upset. The squad found the gate floating in the sky. Deadshot, frustrated because the bombs in their necks flashed, urged Rick to act, but Rick said they could only wait for the reset signal. The Peacemakers started a countdown, and they received the signal just in time. Harley quickly shifted the focus to food, but Rick reminded them of their mission, to build relationships with the kingdom and help end the war. After several battles, Deadshot ran out of bullets and felt useless. Harley, unfazed, playfully suggested fighting with a frying pan instead. Rick recalled that their original helicopter and supplies should still be intact, located on the mountain's west side. Cecil offered to go ahead, and they headed to the fort. Upon arrival, an ogre welcomed them to a feast. The ogre explained they had received alcohol for their fight, and could enjoy the area as long as it didn't belong to the Empire. This made the squad rethink their view of the kingdom. The next day, as they prepared to leave, Harley took a frying pan. They faced various monsters and reached the mountain, finding a dragon nesting with the helicopter. The squad was unsure how to deal with the dragon. Harley joked that it was usually the final boss. Clayface attempted a mating call in a strange form but failed, prompting Deadshot to laugh at him. As the squad bickered, the dragon approached, causing them to scatter. King Shark got captured, and Deadshot, with one bullet left, aimed at the dragon's eye but missed. The dragon spit King Shark back out and retaliated with a fireball which Clayface blocked with a wall. Worried about King Shark, Harley realized he was only slightly burnt. As the dragon prepared to attack, she reflected its fire with her frying pan, causing debris to crash onto it. The dragon retaliated with its tail, but Deadshot saved Harley and urged Rick to get their weapons. Harley decided to find them herself and discovered a bazooka. Deadshot narrowly avoided the dragon's attacks and fell, questioning the delay. Harley threw the bazooka down to him while Peacemaker distracted the dragon. Clayface grabbed the dragon's tail, allowing Deadshot to fire the bazooka. The dragon began to fall, and as the ledge broke, King Shark caught Deadshot just in time. Afterward, Clayface asked Peacemaker how he distracted the dragon. Peacemaker revealed he used the dragon's egg, which he thought about cooking, but Harley found it too cruel. When the egg hatched, she thought the baby dragon was adorable and named it Arthur. While distracted by the new addition, Rick contacted Amanda and reported that the advanced team had joined the enemy. Amanda ordered him to eliminate them. They discovered the helicopter was too damaged to fly, so they packed what they could for their return. Deadshot felt relieved about the ammo, but Harley suddenly smelled something burning. Rick rushed ahead to find that the fort had been destroyed. Harley felt upset as she watched an elf kill the ogre leader. Fueled by anger, she charged in with her friends. The elves tried to stop her, but Peacemaker used one as a shield against a spell. Suddenly, the enchantress appeared, threatening them with crystals, and backed by an army of elves led by the Thinker. He mocked the squad, and although Deadshot tried to shoot him, the Thinker was protected by a shield. Harley asked Deadshot if he wanted to avenge Ratcatcher, but he dismissed the idea. The enchantress announced the fall of their fort, but Harley vowed revenge for the ogres. Peacemaker and Deadshot created explosions, but the Thinker's barrier blocked Harley. An elf blew her away, and Clayface's attack failed. The Thinker boasted about the elves' coordinated attacks. King Shark damaged the enchantress's barrier, but was thrown into a lake by her magic where Killer Croc restrained him. Harley fought the elves while Deadshot provided cover, insulting the Thinker. The Thinker activated crystals that stunned Harley's companions, forcing them to relive nightmares. Harley urged them to recover, but the Thinker taunted her. The enchantress demanded Harley's surrender. Knocked out, and Harley had a vision of the Joker who urged her to create a new world. When she woke up, Rick threatened the Thinker, claiming he'd blow his head off. The Thinker, believing the bombs were deactivated, explained that his orders were to capture them alive. Meanwhile, Killer Croc defeated King Shark, questioning why the squad was still fighting. The Thinker decided to retreat, thinking Rick and Harley were helpless, and left the elves to collapse. Harley, in tears, told Rick their companions were dead, but they soon found Clayface alive. Deadshot woke up, confused, after pulling a glowing bullet from his chest. In the castle dungeon, Cecil wondered how they had lost. The council panicked, but the Queen reassured them, saying only expendable prisoners were lost and blamed the squad, wanting to execute them. Fiona disagreed, arguing it wouldn't help the kingdom. Cecil believed the squad deserved a chance, emphasizing that ending the war was a royal duty, but he doubted his mother's judgment. In the dungeon, the squad blamed Rick and Argus for their predicament. Clayface suggested using Arthur to escape since they couldn't use their powers, but Arthur failed to breathe fire. Cecil warned them to keep their escape plan quiet, explaining that the Queen wanted them dead, but encouraging them to fight the Empire to prove their worth. Deadshot accused Cecil of wishing to use them, but Cecil insisted he wanted them alive after they risked their lives for the kingdom. Fiona warned Cecil that soldiers were growing suspicious. When Cecil asked if they would follow his plan, Deadshot instructed King Shark to open his mouth. Harley questioned Deadshot's intentions and explained that he was trying to motivate King Shark to regrowth teeth. Clayface attempted to pull a tooth, but King Shark angrily chased him. Rick and Deadshot followed while Harley asked Fiona about her decision. Fiona recalled her friend who died trying to feed his family and resolved to oppose her mother, believing in the squad. Peacemaker arrived as Fiona confided in Cecil, who supported her despite his doubts. The squad escaped the castle, but alarms sounded, prompting Rick to hurry them. They found a carriage with their equipment attached. Harley asked about their plan, and Peacemaker explained they needed to eliminate the Thinker. Meanwhile, the Thinker revealed he knew they had to visit the portal to reset their timers. As the elves began casting a spell, a base emerged from the ground, and the Thinker smugly declared the squad would never outsmart him. In a flashback, Harley and the Joker planned a bank robbery, with the Joker eager for the thrill of attempting the impossible. The squad approached the Thinker's base, realizing he was blocking their bomb reset. While Clayface admired the base, Deadshot warned about the impending explosion and the elves. Clayface created a map, but Deadshot doubted they could sneak in. Spotting Katana with the Thinker, they assumed she was in charge. Peacemaker suggested luring her away, but Harley wanted revenge. Clayface warned that the elves' connected minds complicated things, and Rick explained they needed to remove the Thinker's cap to keep them intact. Harley recalled her heist with the Joker and suggested threatening the key holder. Peacemaker planned for King Shark and Clayface to approach from behind while Rick and Deadshot waited in front. He told Rick to lure the elves to a hut at the signal. When Deadshot questioned Peacemaker's absence from the fight, Peacemaker insisted he needed to monitor the fortress. Clayface, pleading not to get wet, was in King Shark's bag as King Shark dove in. Deadshot waited with Rick, who realized they hadn't decided on a signal. Hearing King Shark's noise, Deadshot kicked Rick down the cliff to lure the elves. The Thinker ordered the elves to summon Katana as Deadshot shot a statue. Clayface entered the base disguised as the Thinker and met Katana, who asked why she was summoned. He invited her to discuss brain structure in the lab to distract her. Peacemaker decides to disguise himself as an elf to lure an enemy soldier, insisting his disguise is perfect, while Rick plans to use King Shark to kidnap one. King Shark pulled an elf into the water. When the elf woke up, Peacemaker recognized the telepathy device on his ear. He realized the elf's brain was linked to others and began torturing him. The elves screamed, prompting the Thinker to order a rescue. As they rushed to the hut, King Shark and Harley confronted them. Deadshot shot a statue, and Harley ran to the base, taking down the elves. The The Thinker wondered why the squad attacked without reinforcements when an explosion occurred. Harley mocked his outfit as he prepared for battle with telekinesis. He dismissed their plan as foolish, while Harley insisted he was upset he couldn't stop them. She charged at him, but he dodged and used telekinesis to stop her. She threw her weapon, knocking him down, and dared him to scramble her brain. The Thinker recalled Harley's past as a psychiatrist, remembering the Joker's question about dying for him. He panicked, imagining falling into chemicals, then woke up as Harley asked about his dream. She blew him away, freezing the elves. The squad saw Peacemaker, but Rick was shocked to find the tortured elf. Peacemaker explained it was part of the plan and reminded Rick about the bomb timers. The base shook from another explosion. The Thinker struggled as Katana appeared, calling him useless. Harley escaped and saw Katana holding his head. Katana explained he was useless after losing his cap and tossed aside Clayface, who dissolved in the water. As Katana prepared to fight, Harley charged but got disarmed. She asked Clayface for help and he transformed into a sword. In their fight, Harley destroyed Katana's weapon. Clayface strengthened the sword, giving her the upper hand. Harley kicked and tried to stab Katana, who dodged and lost her mask. Deadshot arrived and shot at her. She dove into the water to escape with a monster while King Shark considered pursuing it, but Clayface advised against it. Deadshot asked Rick if he could handle the bombs, but Rick said no. Harley cheered for Arthur as he breathed fire and burned the enemy's flag. The kingdom learned of their victory, and the council informed the Queen that the squad had defeated one of the Empire's generals. Fiona and Cecil were pleased, but the Queen ordered the knights to capture the team, leaving Fiona puzzled. The officials argued about whether the squad deserved punishment or reward, but the Queen dismissed them and told her servant Theodore to handle a task. Expecting a feast in their honor, the squad arrived in the throne room, only to be met with hostility. Theodore berated them for escaping prison and causing chaos, dismissing their claim of defeating the Thinker. He argued they were only cleaning up their mess since the Thinker was from their world. As he insulted them, especially King Shark, Harley realized they would never be accepted. When Theodore slapped her, King Shark reacted by eating him. The Queen appeared pleased, but Cecil charged at King Shark, only to have his sword swallowed. Deadshot stopped Cecil from retrieving it, and the squad prepared to fight, but the Queen used magic to subdue King Shark. She expressed regret over the attack but accused the squad of provoking her. The Queen ordered their execution, but changed her mind upon seeing Fiona, deciding only to execute King Shark and exile the rest. Deadshot tried to protest, but was forced to watch as King Shark was taken away. As they left, Fiona chased after them, apologizing. Harley, frustrated, dismissed her apology, called her pathetic, and left her bat with Fiona before storming off. Later, the squad drank at a bar, and Harley revealed she had stolen a gem from the castle. Rick tried to stop her from drinking more, but she lamented their failure. They were meant to end the war and build a relationship with the kingdom. A minstrel in the bar sang about them, believing they were heroes from another world. Harley told the minstrel to stop, insisting they were exiled criminals. Upset about not being mentioned in the song, Clayface demanded it continue, but Deadshot knocked him out. A brawl erupted among the squad as they drank and fought through the night. The following day, they woke up hungover and Rick reminded them they had to reset the bomb timers in their heads. Harley left Arthur behind, fearing he would be experimented on if they took him. Rick mentioned saving King Shark, surprising Deadshot, who believed the bomb in his head should handle it. They reset their timers at the gate, and Rick received a call from Amanda Waller. The squad was shocked to learn that Rick had a radio all along. He updates Amanda on their situation, but she dismisses their mission and orders them to return. Rick argued, but Amanda brushed off King Shark's fate. Suddenly, Clayface's head exploded. Horrified, Rick demanded answers. Amanda calmly explained that the mission was too tricky and planned to close the gate once they returned. Realizing she intended to kill them all, Harley bitterly told her just to finish them off. Before they acted, they noticed the castle burning. Rick pleaded with Amanda to let them continue, convincing her to give them 24 hours to produce results or die. As they planned, Clayface reappeared, explaining he had moved his heart and brain within his body, surviving the explosion. 2 hours earlier, Fiona had been trying to stop King Shark's execution, but discovered that the Queen had been replaced. Cecil reflected on his journey as a knight when a disturbance outside interrupted him. One of his men went to investigate but was stabbed and pushed down the stairs. The minister entered, wearing a thinker cap and adjusting to its power. Cecil accused him of treason, but the minister claimed he followed the Queen's orders and sent his men to attack. Meanwhile, Fiona searched for her mother, only to find the Queen, who revealed that she had disposed of her. Fiona questioned the Queen's actions, and the Queen explained that more deaths would restore her powers, fueling the war between the kingdom and the Empire. When Fiona tried to attack, the queen easily disarmed her, stating that the sacred sword which had once stripped her powers was now inside King Shark, making her invincible. As the queen prepared to kill Fiona, Cecil burst in. Cecil confronted the queen, who transformed into the undead king and taunted him about his lost wife. In anger, Cecil stabbed the ground, unleashing a blinding light that helped him escape with Fiona. They barricaded themselves in her room where Fiona cried for her mother. Cecil urged her to be strong, declaring she was the kingdom's only hope. Fiona stared at Harley's bat, feeling pathetic for always holding back. The minister barged in, insisting she would be a sacrifice. Determined, Fiona channeled Harley's spirit, smashing the minister with the bat and freeing the soldiers. Cecil entered and learned that the fight was over. Fiona instructed him to rally those who had not turned undead. Meanwhile, the undead king summoned skeletons across the city, threatening the people. Fiona interrupted, urging them not to fear. The undead king unleashed a torrent of water on the castle, and Killer Croc prepared to attack Fiona. King Shark intervened, realizing Fiona wasn't who he thought. The undead king mocked Fiona and warned of the castle's destruction. The undead king was shot, revealing the squad's arrival. They quickly planned to split into two groups, one to save Fiona, and the other to defeat the undead. Harley volunteered to fight zombies and received a walkie-talkie from Rick before they split. As Harley and Deadshot battled zombies, the undead king summoned Enchantress to confront them. Fiona urged Cecil to help, and he gave her his bracelet before joining the fight. Meanwhile, the other group battled the undead and saw King Shark struggling. Peacemaker decided to help him while Clayface and Rick faced off against Katana. During King Shark's fight, he is hit by Killer Croc, who sends him soaring into the sky. Just when it seemed hopeless, Peacemaker suddenly arrived to turn the tide. Katana defeated Clayface, but she suddenly fled. The squad pursued her, sensing something strange. Meanwhile, Harley and Deadshot struggled against Enchantress, unable to penetrate her barrier. She dropped a building on them, but they realized they were unharmed, thanks to Arthur's protection. Harley was amazed to see how big Arthur had grown. As Arthur charged at Enchantress, she skillfully dodged his flames, leaving Deadshot unsure of their next move. Harley, fighting with a bone, suddenly glowed and destroyed a skeleton. She realized the gem she stole was magical, so she channeled its power into her gun. When she fired at Enchantress, it broke through the barrier. Enchantress retaliated, but Arthur countered with flames, creating a massive explosion that sent Deadshot flying. Surrounded by skeletons, Deadshot was saved by Cecil, who shot them down. Deadshot thanked Cecil for his help and complimented his armor, which Cecil revealed was from a legendary hero. They prepared for the next wave of undead. Meanwhile, Harley managed to shoot Enchantress down and contemplated her motivations, noticing the same fear on her face as the hostages the Joker had taken. Clayface and Rick discover Enchantress's natural body inside a dragon's skeleton, while Katana observes them from above. The team decided to capture Enchantress. Clayface rushed in and transformed, but the dragon took him down and bit him. Seizing the chance, Rick grabbed Enchantress's body, but it crashed to the ground. Enchantress sensed the pain and flew up to investigate. Rick contacted her, revealing what they had found, and she instructed him to bring it to the plaza. Harley told the Enchantress they had what she wanted, and that she would return it if she helped them. However, Enchantress suddenly felt pain, and accused Harley of messing with her. She retaliated by attacking Harley while Clayface and Rick dragged her body along, hitting rocks in the process. Despite their efforts, they got stuck on a tree, frustrating Enchantress. As the dragon prepared to incinerate them, Katana cut it in half. She replied that Harley was waiting when asked why she saved them. Meanwhile, Peacemaker struggled against King Croc in the water, while Croc mocked King Shark for having a weak ally. He soon realized his monster was missing and saw that Peacemaker had taken it onto land. Croc accused him of targeting the gills, but Peacemaker threatened the monster, warning it not to move. King Shark pointed out that his friends might not be strong, but they were smarter. When Peacemaker released the monster, Croc thought it had escaped, but it suddenly grabbed and ate him. Back in the castle, injured while protecting Deadshot, Cecil gave him his armor before falling unconscious. Frustrated, Deadshot punched it, triggering an energy blast that blew a hole in the wall. Realizing it was enchanted, he donned the armor, and his gun fired a massive energy blast. Harley battled Enchantress but became dizzy as Clayface rolled with her body. The Undead King decided to eliminate Enchantress before she could reclaim her body. She was shot down as she rushed to get it back. But Deadshot saved Harley from the Undead King's attack. The Enchantress retrieved her body and revealed her desire for revenge. The Undead King enhanced his skeletons, making Harley's gun ineffective. Peacemaker and King Shark joined the fight, and Deadshot provided them with armor, transforming them and amplifying their powers. They charged at the undead, but the skeletons began to rise again. Knowing they needed to defeat the boss, Enchantress guided them forward. They flew to confront the undead king, who launched a barrage of magic that overwhelmed them. Arthur got hit, causing Harley and Rick to crash into the castle where they found Fiona. Harley complimented her makeup, but the battle raged above. Rick asked Fiona if she could help with her magic, but she revealed that the undead king could only be defeated by a holy sword, and didn't know its location. Inspired, Harley devised a plan. Meanwhile, Deadshot was pummeled by the undead king, and Peacemaker was sent flying. Clayface attacked with mud while King Shark charged in, but was also blown away. With Clayface defeated, the undead king mocked them as weak, but Rick managed to shoot him. Harley charged to annihilate him, but the squad protected her from his spell. As Harley became ensnared, the undead king began to strangle her, but it turned out to be Fiona. She called for the holy sword which emerged from King Shark, decapitating the undead king. As she fell, Fiona realized she had been set up, but Harley rushed over and delivered the finishing blow. After their victory, the squad was commended for saving the kingdom, though they were more interested in food. Rick reported their success in building a relationship with the kingdom, but mentioned spotting Katana in the Empire. Katana stood beside Amanda, who realized the Joker was behind everything. The Joker had pretended to be Katana, and seized control of the Empire as its new emperor.